again, good afternoon for those who just came in. So I will be sharing with you on the importance of the business architecture. I think because the word, if you compare among all the domain of enterprise architecture, you compare with the information architecture, software architecture, infrastructure architecture, solution architecture. I guess business architecture is the least so-called popular because of the nature of our IT professional is that we are typically technology focused. Technical focus. So when we talk about business, we feel that, oh, business is not my cup of tea, right? That could also be the reason that why we took our bachelor or master in the software engineering, including myself, right? So, study my bachelor and also my master also in software engineering, because we felt that business is not our cup of tea. But I think as we started to do a transformation, especially in the last 2 years because of the pandemic, so everything is shifted. The focus now is no longer about technical because, technology is there, is granted, is important. But I think now is more important to that is that how can we leverage on the technology to deliver value, to support, and also enhance and make our business competitive. So I think this is the focus on my webinar today. So hope everyone is having the same understanding and also the same expectation about what actually business architecture and how can I master the business architecture, and what sort of the thing that I need to know, right? If I claim myself as the business architect. So that will be my topic for this afternoon. So let me just, first topic is just briefly introduce ISA. Maybe some of you never heard about ISA, but I think those who have heard, I think you are quite so-called, first time you hear the word BITABOK. Last time it was used to call ITABOK, Architecture Body of Knowledge, but I think a few months back, ISA also make alignment with the digital transformation, with all the transformation that's going on. So ISA has rebranded the ITABOK to become BITABOK, right? Business Technology Architecture Body of Knowledge. So that's basically a collection of the proven skill set, how we can adapt and how we can apply so-called best practices in doing the architecture and also in delivering a technology solution for the business. So briefly, I think ISA founded in 2002 in Austin, Texas. So focusing on the enterprise architecture profession, yeah. So the word here is profession, means is really for those practitioners and the professional. And of course, I think 70,000 of our members, and recently the rebranded the ITABOK to become BITABOK, as I mentioned earlier. And of course, non-profit, right? And then run by all volunteers all over the world. So almost who is who in the so-called architecture arena. Typically, they because ISA run many events across city, across country, across continents. So typically, garner all the interest and also the so-called the guru level in that profession, right? So typically, I used to travel attending the ISA event, so met all the famous person that normally I can only read their book or their theory, but in the event typically can meet face to face. And of course, ISA is for every architect, right? So architect here, we are talking about business architect, information or data architect, software or application architect, infrastructure or technology architect, and solution architect. So this pretty much the high level categorization of architects, right? Of course, from there you can split into the, you want to zoom in into security architecture, into networking architecture. That one also can be so-called specialized under this group. So basically, the profession of architect is that you are not born as an architect. We actually can be trained, and also they have a collection of the body of knowledge, right? The same thing, like if you want to become the lawyer or you want to become a doctor, there is a body of knowledge that for you to learn, right? You go to medical school, you practice, and then from there you become a profession, right? The same thing with the architect. That's why the body of knowledge on the BITABOK, Business Technology Architecture Body of Knowledge, is exactly offering these so-called best practices for someone to become architects. And so the collection, I think, translated into the few languages, right? So basically, they got the qualitative, quantitative. So they got the survey, they got the focus group, and it's the typical so-called non-profit organization, right? How they run the so-called the structure of the organization. And of course, ISA also developing and maintaining the BITABOK. Now it's version 3, right? Of course, they got the training, exams, and all the so-called blog. If you go visit the website, you can see so many videos, so many articles, so many interviews, right? For us to learn from those who have successfully implemented architecture. And in the context of the Betabox itself, there are 5 pillars. The first pillar basically is business technology strategy. This is where so-called opening up the concept of the importance on the business to the technology, right? Because in the past is that many businesses develop their own strategy, and IT people also develop their own strategy. But in the context of the architecture, both need to be merged, right? That business and technology need to be so-called united, need to be so-called integrated for so-called the organization to successfully transform digitally. Then, of course, the second pillar, human dynamic, the importance of the understanding different people, got different character, different behavior, politics, human politics, and etc. Quality attribute, talking here about the maintainability, security, issue of maintenance, performance. So that's also very, very important if you want to claim that we have successfully, deliver a technology solution for the business. And IT environment here, talking about, DevOps, project management, IT services, support, help desk. So that's also a very important pillar in the body of knowledge. And design skill, right? So design skill, basically, when we do modeling, sometimes we need to communicate our so-called architecture. That's why you do a design, right? You do modeling. So you can use a tool like Archimate to do that. And of course, the specialization, as I mentioned, business, information, software, infra, and solution. So I have others webinar, right? If you're interested to find out more what information, software, infra, and solution in the YouTube as well as in the ATD website. But this webinar, I'll be focusing on the business architecture topic itself, or the domain specialization. So for architect itself to be so-called successful in their career, in their life, or in their work, right? You need to do a touch point. Touch point means engagement. You need to touch almost every divisional, every department, every business unit, every department within your organization, right? As well as with external party. External party means could be your partner ecosystem, your customer ecosystem. So architect need to get involved to know all this type of the touch point, because the focus is not only within the organization, like people look at the inside out, but should be outside in as well. So how other entities or a party look at us, right? That's why the transformation itself need to be holistic, right? You need to show that our thought leadership, our customer transformation, our skill set transformation, including an employee, information transformation, operating model, and digital business itself. Because I think nowadays is that, I don't know, I mean, at least this is the positive outcome of the COVID, right? We are being forced into moving towards digital by, the speed of the digital, I think in the last 2 years is more than the last 20 years. Because of the COVID itself. But I guess now moving forward, how can we sustain, right? I mean, we are being forced to do the digital, but now is the time to do house cleaning, right? So this way, architecture are playing even more critical role, because we need to transform fast moving forward, right? With the speed of the digital, and also the expectation of our customer, our client, our partners, our even within our internal organization. They're expected to to be able to get everything instantly, right? Last time they can wait, now they can't wait anymore. They want it by today. Last 2 years ago, I can tell them next week they can wait. Now it's like they need it now, right? Especially when we do this type of the video conferencing, we can't really see face to face, right? We can only meet like this in the camera. So people expectation change. That's why we also need to transform the way we work, right? That's why the enterprise architect actually playing a critical role, right, to drive the transformation within the organization, as well as within the infra department, as well as with the external. And of course, this is something that I think some of you who have followed my webinar, you have seen this, that typically is that you come up strategy and you execute the transformation. So I would say that 95% of the organization doing it this way, right? And then they do so-called architecture inside the transformation itself. By right, I think our message is that loud and clear. You want to be successful, you want to have a long-term sustainability. You can't do just strategy direct to transformation, but you need to go through some sort of architecture. Because when you get the strategy, it's typically in the PowerPoint slide, right? Or in the Microsoft Word document. So we need to be able to understand the motivation of the strategy, what are the capability, what are the impact. That is actually the core of the business architecture, right? So once we understand business architecture, then we can do the rest of the architecture like data, application, or infrastructure and solution architecture. So without the business architecture being done first, actually it's very, very difficult for us to sustain the transformation. We can do it once, but we cannot do it. If people say you can be lucky once, you cannot be lucky all the time, right? So the concept is basically about how we can understand the strategy, and strategy typically is developed by the senior management, right? In terms of their motivation, their goal, their drivers, their outcome, and how they can be cascaded down into the business, right? So business architecture actually playing in this middle ground to realize, right, to make it happen. Because you cannot just come up strategy, you pass it like just now in the previous slide, right? You pass it to the transformation team, and typically now is handled by the PMO to execute. Because there are many other things that we have to do in order for us to get it right, right? That's why the business architecture playing a critical role as the bridge, right? Between the aspiration of the senior management and how the technology can help to realize that. So with that, I think we can get a digitally connected enterprise model whereby we can do a so-called a full traceability between strategy, business, information, application, and infrastructure, right? So that we can execute the transformation project successfully. That is the aim of why we need to establish so-called practice of enterprise architecture. And now, of course, the topic here is about business architecture that are super important, that need to be done first before other architecture work can carry on. Yeah. So this is where typically behind the scene that where you merge the strategy between business and IT. So no longer separation. And of course, the digital EA itself will help to so-called analyze in terms of the doing the business architecture and how that impact to the information, application, and technology. If you see here in these pictures, business architecture is horizontal, right? So if you want to get the information architecture correct, you need to depend on the business architecture. If you want to get application architecture correct, you need to depend on the business architecture. If you want to get technology or infrastructure architecture correct, you need to refer to the business architecture. So you can see in the middle pictures here, business architecture basically is horizontal, right? Cross architecture domain. Yeah? And every architect, if you are information, application, and technology, you need to be able to master or to have the secondary role of business architect. You cannot say, sorry, Aaron, I'm a data scientist. You want to talk about business architecture, you talk to my boss. No, you can't do that, right? If you carry the title of data architect, information architect, right, you need to be able to perform the role of business architect. Because in everything you do in information, application, and technology, need to be aligned back to the business. And the middle part is where you understand the alignment between the domain of architecture and you identify the gaps based on the strategy or the vision or the driver or the motivation of what the senior management trying to do. And the gap is being executed at the bottom layer. Does that make sense? So the bottom layer basically is where you are executing all the so-called the work packages. And inside there, basically all about filling up the gaps. The gaps that need to be filled so that the transformation can be successful. Yeah. So this is basically in a nutshell about how the digital and architecture can help to realize successful digital transformation. Whereby the bottom part is still running as usual, the project management, but you get many input, valuable input and insight for you to carry out the project successfully, or rather than without the number one and number two. So topic number 2 is about key strategic role of business architecture specialization. Right. So I think as mentioned that the architects they got the 5 domains, right? So you can basically look here at the infrastructure, information, solution, software, and the business. So let me just focus on the importance of the business architecture specialization. So this is the statement, right? Business architecture is the first architecture activity undertaken. Because of what? First, it's often necessary to demonstrate the business value of the overall architecture activity. So how can we show the value if you show them in the TCP/IP, in the hosting, in the cloud? We can't. We need to when we want to show the business value, we need to talk about the business lingo. This is where the business architecture come into pictures. The second one, it provides knowledge that is a prerequisite for undertaking architecture work in other domains, right? In data, application, technology, or infrastructure. This basically the second statement carry a lot of message, right? So if someone in your department or in your organization, maybe perhaps after this webinar, right, you go attend the meeting, they said they want to implement the so-called moving to the cloud, or they want to implement AI, etc. First thing you ask, have we done the business architecture, right? If they have not, I think better stop it. Because why? Your whatever design yang technical in terms of the data, application, technology, infrastructure doesn't go anywhere, right? It will bring little value to the business because we haven't even done the business architecture. So what are we talking about? So when we do business architecture, later you will see what actually we do, right? As a business architect, we interact with the stakeholders, understand their concern, understand their driver, understand the strategy. Then from there, we can propose the right data architecture, application, technology, infrastructure. Otherwise, who advise you for the right data design, the right application design or technology infrastructure? I can tell you, it's the vendor, right? Or the most you watch their advertising, their sponsorship or their marketing message, right? But we don't really know the actual business in our organization. That's why the point number 2 are also very, very important. Number 3, it can be used to demonstrate the return on investment to the key stakeholders. Because sometimes we can't show the value. So business architecture, let them see, oh, actually, the problem statement that we are trying to address is really critical. And I can see the solution to be developed, right? So this is the role or so-called the impact on how the business architecture can help the IT team or the architecture team to show the value of the technology. Because when you talk to the key stakeholders, you expect them to invest the money. At the end of the day, they need to sign off on the amount to be committed into this initiative. That's why the architecture is show that value. And of course, the number 4 is that it embodies the fundamental organization of the business and show how an organization meets its business goal, right? Because when we do the so-called business architecture, right, you understand the structure of the organization and what are the processes, what are the goal and motivation for every key stakeholders. Then from there, you can see how you can best address their concern with the technology solution. Yeah. So even this is only a 4th statement, right? But it carry a lot of weight on how and also a lot of message, right? How we should move forward from here. Because without business architecture is being done first, I think it's no point to proceed with the rest of the technology or application or software architecture. Yeah, this is not about capturing the requirement. It's beyond the requirement. It's basically architecting the entire business. Then from there, we see what are the gap required to be filled by the technology itself. So the role of business architect basically create and refine business architecture, of course, and on the business technology strategy. So you see the word business technology strategy. So you need to have some sort of mastery in the business knowledge. Otherwise, you cannot execute this. Right, that's why fortunately the BITABOK, right, the ISA BITABOK, giving you or equip you with the right necessary business skill set for you to be successful performing this role. Okay, otherwise, if without this BITABOK or the training path, you have to go enroll yourself into MBA if you are graduated degree in the computer science or information system or software engineering. No choice, right? That's why so many, if you see those IT people who move up to the next level in their corporate ladder, typically they are supplemented with the MBA courses somewhere in their career, right? That's why the architecture role actually filling up that gap, right? And we have some sort of a so-called body of knowledge to equip the IT professional like you and me to understand and perform this role correctly. And of course, business architect also is called sometimes a digital strategy in today's context, right? So you know the technology as well as business. So you cannot be just half here, half there, right? You need to be able to understand, especially the relationship between business and technology. And of course, once you perform business architect, you actually it's enterprise troubleshooter. So pretty much almost any issue that organization face can be addressed with the business architecture. Because at the end of the day is that, you know, you will narrow down into the impact like the business capability. Because business capability is something that an organization should have to survive or to excel against their competitor or to be performing well in the industry. But if your business capability weak, you will receive many complaints, you receive many issues, and etc. Okay, so business architecture actually focusing a lot on how we can improve our business capability. So this actually is the training path for someone to become the so-called business architect specialist, which you see on the left corner there, right? So if you see here, every architect, if you are not performing a full-time business architect, if you are information architect, infrastructure, software, and solution, your secondary role must be a business architect, right? So in this path itself, the business architect required, if you see in the middle here, you can see my mouse, that it requires a prerequisite business technology strategy, because this is the knowledge where you bridge between business and technology, right? Basically, you understand about the the motivation of the key stakeholders. So when you meet up with a particular entity in the organization, the business unit, right? Typically, once you are being equipped with this type of knowledge, you need to understand what actually their business KPI. Not technology KPI, but business KPI. And you can see what are the opportunity or the issue that they currently are facing. And you can see how the technology itself can address that issue. So this is where the concept on the understanding the business technology strategy and the business architecture are playing hand in hand, right? To make the rest of the information, infra, software, and solution to be successful. Otherwise, you can claim that you are following all the vendor methodology, etc. But to the business, no impact. What? Because you are not delivering a sweet spot, what actually the business need. That's why business architecture is one of the most important architecture role that every architecture should possess, right? Regardless whether you are information, infrastructure, software, or solution, you need to master the business architecture. Okay, why business architecture is a key success factor? This is also the statement, a very strong statement. Business cannot survive without IT, and IT has no place without business. Right? So basically, it's the inter and intra dependency between business and IT, right? And that's why business architecture filling up this gap nicely. And of course, primary duty of architect is to translate business requirement into technical requirement and provide full traceability. That's why the business architect also not only able to translate the requirement, right? But we need to provide the traceability, because traceability means that if I want to make some changes, can you tell me which are the so-called requirement, function, processes, or entity that are impacted? So the business architect need to be able to answer that quickly as well. And of course, not only architect must speak the business language, but also to have in-depth understanding on the overall business vision and on overall strategy. So now is that the expectation of architects. We need to know business quite well, right? So no excuse that they said, oh, sorry, boss, I took the wrong degree. I never learned about business. But we have a so-called the program just now, the training path, right? To guide you how you can master this type of skill so that we can deliver value of the technology to the business, okay? And of course, this is also a very strong message that all EA domain must perform secondary role as business architect if you are not a full-time business architect. Yeah, no other option. You cannot say, sorry, I'm the infrastructure architect. Business, you ask my boss, you ask the other team. No. If your attitude is that way, then you don't call it yourself architect, right? You can call it you are the principal network system engineer, right? Or senior principal if you want to, right? So go to that hierarchy, but don't claim yourself as an architect, because when you claim yourself as an architect, you are expected, right, to master the business architecture as well. And of course, enterprise architect as a trusted advisor and leader, right, expected to navigate and manage complex business situation. Yeah. So this is the message, right? This is for those who have successfully performed the role of business architects, right? So basically, everybody is the business architect, regardless of whether you are network, software, and etc. And you need to be able to navigate and understand the complex business situation and offer a solution to the problem faced by the business. So the model basically is that if you ask multiple layers, if you see the title there, motivation, strategy, and business layer is the focus of the business architecture work. Okay, so the left-hand side is the typical enterprises organization, right? Many people, process, technology, department, and not to mention bureaucratic and the politics that take place in the typical organization. So is a lot of the information are kept among the department or among a group of people. So if you do that, then it's very hard to transform. So the only thing you can transform is that we need to come out like the the digital map, right? So the digital map, like motivation and strategy, is also the so-called the turf of the business architect. Business architect basically capturing the motivation and strategy layer of the key stakeholders. And again, when you talk about business architect, every architect actually is the business architect. So no, you cannot say that, oh, I am the software architect, I'm not business architect. No, it's taken that you're software architect a full-time role, but you need to perform secondary role as the business architect, right? So you need to be able to understand about motivation, strategy, course of action, capability, driver, and etc. Then from there, we need to be able to also understand or model the business architecture. So business architecture basically about all the role, function, processes, right, including product, contract, and also all the department that are involved to carry out the so-called the tasks in the typical organization. Then after that, of course, need to be also supported by the application itself. So the application architecture that's supporting the business and also motivation, as well as the technology or infrastructure layers, and also the information layer itself, right? Information architecture that are required for the so-called process or function and services to be carried out. And the bottom part is about the implementation of project layer. So if you look at the focus here, actually the playground, I would say, for the business architect actually at the top two layers, right? Including, of course, touching the information architecture, business layer, and motivation and strategy layers. So these are typically that seldom being addressed in an organization, even though the organization is going through transformation. So typically they are focusing a lot at the bottom layer there, application, technology, and project, and some of the data, whereby actually just now in my earlier slide, that business architecture actually is the prerequisite before all the other architecture layers to be carried out successfully. So let's move on into the topic number 3 about business architecture project. So typically, what sort of the activity that you involve, right, as the business architect? So of course, first troubleshooting the business, right? So basically taken that if got any issue in the particular business, customer complaint, product is not recorded, or inventory missing, or or whatever the marketing campaign cannot carry out, etc., they call the business architect. And as mentioned earlier, everyone is business architect, right? If you call yourself as an architect, so you need to be able to troubleshoot the business. Secondly, we also need to do due diligence on the business research, right? So here could be in the context of merger and acquisition, can also be in the context of analyzing the competitor. What are our competitor doing? If you don't have the competitor, if you are from the government, then you compare with other government, right? You cannot say, hey, sorry, we are government, no competitor. Who says so? They got the ranking, what? Got United Nations ranking, what? So every country got their own ranking. So you should be able to do a comparison, right? You should be able to do a business research. And the third one is business case, right? Business case basically is how you justify that this initiative. So if this initiative, we have to wait 8 months, right? Cost 20 million. How do you justify that? That's where the business architect playing this role. And business plan, right? Basically developing the roadmap. So how can we ensure that we have a roadmap plan moving forward? Then business impact analysis. Basically, we want to know that got some changes in the particular business. What are the other entities are impacted, right? I think you watched my video earlier that if management expect us to answer them quickly, right? They want to change the strategy. What's the impact to the organization? That's where the business architect need to be able to answer that. Also, quite quickly, you can't answer that next week. Maybe you can tell them now it's 2:30, so let's gather again at 5 o'clock. That's the typical response they expect from you. And of course, business process improvement, always. How we can identify the area of process improvement. And of course, maintenance of this business model, right? That's why you need to have the repository, digital EA repository for you to preserve, right? To evergreen this business model. So the first one, troubleshooting the business, right? So troubleshooting is the most valuable task performed by business architect in a company to have all of the information necessary to understand what is really going on, right? What is really happening. So you need to do research into the business architecture to determine the root cause and possible solution to business problem, right? So basically, we want to understand that why particular process take longer than it should be. and look at the process in terms of the business capability that interact with it and where in the organization those capability reside. So this is very, very important. You need, in order for you to be successfully doing this, you need to have the digital map. The digital map that just now I showed earlier. Yeah. And of course, the next one is analyze the interfaces between organizations, right? Look at how the infra or inter-department, right? Here I'm talking about information flow within the organization, or what they call it value stream. So as a business architect, you need to be able to understand the value stream, how the information flow between a different team, infra team or inter team, and also infra or inter department. So this is an example of the value stream supported by the capability, right? So you need to know exactly that where are your capability today, right? Some are good in the green, somehow some need improvement in yellow, and some very poor, right? Very poor basically is weak. When you call weak means many complaints, right? And maybe the system also not integrated, or could be weak because of the old system that are not updated, or outdated information or process that need to be upgraded. So you can see here at a glance that typically this is what you can start when you troubleshoot the business. Look at the value stream. The next one is due diligence business research. In the typical merger and acquisition, a thorough understanding on the existing business capability, processor, and technology is critical in sorting out what to keep and what to terminate, right? Because sometimes if you don't do a stock taking, we don't do a spring cleaning. In the house called spring cleaning. So we need to be able to do spring cleaning of all our technology assets as well. That's why if you do the architecture correctly, then you can identify that actually they got many redundant or duplication on the platform, technology, or functionality that actually we can merge and combine them. So in the potential acquisition, we can look at what to keep, right? What to preserve and what to cut off. Okay. So sometimes we also looking at the comparing, right? The capability between two departments, and basically we are doing a rationalization and consolidation. So this is basically the one of the main tasks of the business architect, to make it business lean, right? So we have less duplication, and even especially how the technology supporting various department and division. The third one is business case, right? So very important for us also to develop the business case, because with the business case, then we can show the value. Remember just now one of the requirements that why business architecture is so important, the work, because it can show the ROI, right? So this is one of the so-called point number 3. So we look at the analysis of financial aspect, right? Of, for example, the potential undertaking, project, acquisition. Then we also look at the financial model of cost and benefit over time. So basically, it's when you have a chance to take a business architecture specialization, they got one module a lot on the financial. So the financial is important, but of course the financial, we are not replacing the job of accountant or financial analyst in your team, but architect need to know the numbers, because you need to make a strategic decision. How are you going to support this particular division? How you can help to turn around the so-called the financial, right? So I hope this is not a shocking news. If you're first time hearing that architects need to also understand the financial terms, right? We not only good in the TCP/IP, but we also need to good in the like net present value, ROI, all the debit, credit, and etc. Right? We need to know that. Of course, profit and loss statement as well. We need to know that. And the next one is understand the effect of an undertaking on a company performance, right? So we really need to know the context about where we are in. And of course, prioritize investment option. So the business architect actually the one that prioritize that which one is the low-hanging fruit, right? Which one is the less risk and maximum value. So this is where part of the business case development. The next one on the business plan, right? So business plan is basically important. So a business architect actually work hand in hand with the business team, right? How to complete so-called the business plan. So business plan is the complete description of a business architecture and can be used to implement a business, right? So it's really about the business. And typically the business plan is created and maintained for new venture, joint venture, subsidiary, spin-off, or new product line, or perhaps annual, right? Annual business plan. So this is where the business architect hand in hand working with the business team. The next one on the business impact analysis. So we need to know of any changes Like for instance, that if you want to change this particular component, right? Of course, it will impact the business process, and also we impact a various function and application services. Okay, so this is a very important if you have the right model. So if you don't have the right model, then you have to find out yourself to troubleshoot. And I think this is what I mean, that you need to have the speed of so-called digital in the today context, right? Speed of digital means I can give you the answer in 10 minutes or 15 minutes, right? The most half an hour. If you don't have this type of the business architecture in place, it will take you maybe a few weeks or few months. Or if your organization is very big, maybe a few years. You can't even give the answer. Because why? Nobody knows what is inside the financial processing. Right? Nobody has the pictures. But if we preserve the model, we should be able to navigate the model. Right? This is the so-called one of the key important aspects by having the right business architecture practice in place. Of course, the next one, the business process improvement, right? We look and we model the business, and we look at how the business process perform, right? What are the services it's being realized, what trigger them, and what are the information that are being accessed, right? So typically, you want to do this type of the analysis, you cannot use manual. You need to be supported by the digital EA tool to model the processes. Because today we are living in the digital world. So if you think you can deliver this with Word and Excel, good luck, right? Because not only these pictures, there can be hundreds and thousands of them. And you need to preserve and maintain the so-called the recency, right? They call it the evergreen. I needed the up-to-date one, right? You don't tell me that 2 years ago model, which is totally normal practice today. Of course, we also need to train and educate business leaders on the technique for process monitoring and improvement. Right? So typically, all these are key success factor for an architect to contribute value today. The next one is business model maintenance, right? So we need to have some sort of the meta model, right? We need to know the relationship between various entity, right? Between the strategy, between the capability map, between the organization, between business function, between landscape map, between business process, and also information structure. Okay, so this is one of the example on the meta model, the relationship of the business architecture. And of course, this one is using Archimate, right? So for those of you who have a chance to embark into this role, I would suggest that you look into the Archimate, because Archimate is quite straightforward and also quite easy to understand. And of course, if there's a formal training on how you can be trained to understand all this type of modeling concept in terms of the architecture. And in fact, every boxes here, actually, you can be treated as a database table. So you can store the information, the attribute, etc., that you can turn it into a dashboard. So the next one is on the business architecture quality attributes. So there are 5 quality attributes that business architecture must have, right? First is the well-structured business architecture should have the following. So the representation must be a complete view of the business. And of course, must be a business-oriented, right? Not the technology-oriented, but business-oriented. And of course, must be practical, because we cannot say that, we are at the 30,000 feet. It's too theoretical, but we need to be on the ground, because we need to touch every business unit in terms of the practicality, and also have clarity and have meaningful example. So meaningful example here is meaning that you have the model, you can describe, not only too abstract. Yeah? So you need to have some sort of a mechanism to show them about your work. Yeah, to be tangible, not say abstract. Too many abstract, so people don't understand what we are talking about. So number 1, represent a complete view of business. So basically, the complete view of business must include, and of course, not only internal but external business environment. We need to understand the business strategy, business capability, business operation, and organizational context, right? So business architect actually having that information at the fingertip. And of course, business architect also might only choose to use part of the model that fit their purpose. So this is the beauty of the enterprise architecture, is that you can slice and dice, right? You don't need to use all, you use what you need, or in the concept called minimum viable architecture, right? It's not the more the merrier. The least is the merrier, right? Of course, because without the complete business architecture view, they cannot make informed choices. Right? What to include or what to exclude. So you just need to look at the understanding the business and just deliver enough. Right? Don't give more, because the more you give, the more you have to do analysis and etc. Right? But of course, sometimes you need to do check and balance. if the system is very critical and high impact, high risk, then you have to do more, right? Rather than the simple system. Okay. So this example on the how you have a complete view. So you can describe how the function work, how the business role, performing the business service, and also how the role like the insurance, right? How they should can be bundled between travel insurance and the luggage insurance sharing, right? Selling. So how the processes are involved, right? And then handled by who, right? And then whether any basic administrative support if someone take up this type of the insurance, right? So all these are the sample on the model that that you need to present, okay? And of course, all these letters need to be supported by the technology itself. Okay? The second one is on the business oriented. So business architecture model should encourage, of course, describing the business completely in the business term. I think just now repeated again. So not using the platform, but more on the business terminology. Okay. So one business architect have developed the business model, they can connect it to other architecture view in application, information, and infrastructure. Okay. They are more helpful to IT, right? Such as the following: application portfolio, infrastructure environment, or information structure. So you can see here the business itself, right? Horizontal, right? Of course, infrastructure also horizontal. So application and information are basically realizing the business, and they sit on top of the infrastructure to execute the so-called the digital transformation through the various system and project. So this is the example, right? How the business itself is modeled, and then the application in the middle, and the technology actually supporting it. Okay, so we need to have some sort of the mechanism to portray. This is what so-called our current business landscape, for instance. Yeah. The next one, of course, be practical, right? So we are looking at the quick win always. So as with enterprise architecture in general, so business architecture goal is to create artifacts and viewpoint that business architect can apply to solve business problem. It's always lah. Yeah. So some business understanding of the technology is important, right? But the most important is that how can we deliver the value of technology to the business stakeholders? Because if they don't find it valuable, I don't know how many of you ever got the project and suddenly got terminated the project, because the stakeholders don't find it valuable, right? They find it that the EA team are actually, or the architecture team or the development team actually, wasting too much money and resources, right? That's why the important or the business architect is that we need to keep engaging the key stakeholders. That's why we need to have the so-called the mechanism, the tool, the modeling, and also the communication method, how we can communicate the value of technology to them so that they can give us the full support on what we do. Okay, so basically this is what I just now described, how technology can address and solve the business problem. The next one, of course, have clarity, right? So architect need to use simple and a consistent messaging, right? Or communication platform. And of course, this one is we can use industry standard, right? Like the TOGAF and Archimate. So I believe some of you already exposed with TOGAF and Archimate. So this is one of the way that we can simplify our method, so that we don't, people say, hey, why you keep changing that project, you do this one, that project, you do another one. So that's why we need to have a standard framework across the enterprise, right? And how you describe the architecture, basically we're using Archimate to make it consistent. And Archimate so far can be accepted into the various business team that I have come across, right? Including the hospital, to the doctor, to the even to the finance team, to the nursing team, to the pharmacy team, right? They can accept Archimate, right? It's not the rocket science. Anyway, they've been doing that in the Microsoft Excel if you don't use Archimate. And Microsoft Excel is good for a start, but it's not sustainable for the long term. Yeah? That's why you need to switch into the modeling language to make it things simpler and consistent. Okay. So this is what at the end of the day, architect need to have a so-called approach, right, that are consistent, and also to enhance the clarity in the structure manner. So this is the TOGAF, right? For those of you who have not been exposed to TOGAF, so TOGAF is one of the framework that can standardize the development of business or enterprise architecture. But if you can see here, right? In the phase A is where, in the preliminary is where you get management buy-in, defining EA principle, preparing enterprise for transformation. This actually is part also of the business architect. Then in the phase A, right, ABCD is where you develop architecture building block, and then EFGH is where you interact closely with your project management. to deliver a solution. We call it solution building block, SBB. So in the phase A, this is also the job of the business architect. You're basically implementing enterprise vision and strategy. So basically, all the key stakeholders that you are so-called covering, you need to understand their vision and the strategy and how that can help so-called to be realized with the architecture. And also the business architecture itself, right? Here I just summarize it into the gaps. Gaps mean after you understand all the business architecture landscape, the baseline, the target, and what are the aspirations of the key stakeholders, you know exactly what thing to change. They call it gaps. Once the gap is done, then you can do the data architecture gaps, right, in the phase C, and also application architecture gap, as well as developing infrastructure architecture gaps. That is very key for us to understand the gaps. Gaps mean thing that need to change, thing that need to be upgraded, thing that need to be modified, so that architecture vision, which is actually the implementing enterprise vision and strategy, can be achieved, okay, or can be realized. So once you understand the gap, you consolidate all the gap, then you go into phase E. So phase E is where you group all the gaps into the project, right? Anyway, the project is basically you're trying to do something that you don't have, right? Or thing that need to be improved. That's why you call it gaps, and you prioritize that into the project. Then in the phase F, you approving project and finalizing the project plan. This is where you assign the resources, how many mandates, and then how many interdependency between multiple tasks. And of course, in the phase G, about implementing project and executing governance. This is where you do the execution, right? And the next one is on the managing business and technology change, because we are living in a digital world, right? So things change. When the thing change, what should we go about applying the change? That's why you got the phase heads there. But if you see here in the middle, right, they got requirement management. So requirement management is what today in the today context is called digital repository. Digital enterprise architecture repository, where it has all the relationship, right, defined in the meta model, and they understand that if I change the particular area on the business, what are the impact to the information system, technology, or migration project, or information governance, or in fact the business itself. What are the things impacted? That's why the arrow is double-sided arrow, double-head arrow here. Okay. So in terms of the clarity, also you can use just now I mentioned the layers, right? Using the architecture layers, and typically is addressed by Archimate. So you can have the strategy layer, business layer, application layer, technology, and physical. Physical here talking about the supply chains, the warehouse, the sensor, remote sensor, IoT, Internet of Things, also can be modeled here. And the last one is on the project. And the motivation actually is the motivation of the key stakeholders that connect the entire layers, right? So basically is that whenever you want to do strategy, what a motivation you're trying to fulfill? When you do a business, what a motivation you're trying to fulfill? When you design a particular application, what the motivation you're trying to fulfill? When you define the technology or infrastructure, what are the motivation you're trying to fulfill? When you do the project as well, what is the motivation that you're trying to fulfill? And this motivation belongs to the key stakeholders. Does that make sense? So if you do the so-called enterprise architecture properly, you can present this so-called model in the concise and clear manner. Otherwise, you can just say, hey, this actually for my big boss. Actually, what happened? Actually, I don't know. That one informed 3 months ago. Now I'm doing this. That's what happened with many of us, right? We don't have the information at hand because nobody modeled this into the repository. That's why the enterprise architecture like this one, requirement management here on the left, actually storing all the intelligence and the sensor, connecting all the phases in the enterprises. So the next one is have meaningful example. So we adopt, of course, industry best practices in architecture modeling, right? So we can use a reference model. Some of the industry, they have their reference model, like in the banking, they got a BEIN, B-E-I-N, right? And then the insurance, the Accord reference model, right? So we also need to find some relevant case study, how others has done successfully. Okay, so that will be so-called also part of the best practice, rather than reinvent the wheel. Okay, so for instance, is that you can look at the meta model, right? How the meta model can be adopted to your environment, and how you can define the value stream and with all the capabilities supporting it. Okay, so my next topic is actually on the business architecture goals and strategy. Yeah. So basically in the goal and strategy, goal drives strategy and not the other way around. So it's not the strategy driving goal, but the goal drives the strategy. What strategy to be defined in order to achieve the goal? So goal statements, for example, target, you want to be number one in the market, right? Strategy for achieving the target by launching 5 new products. Okay, if we can launch new product this year, we can be number one in the market, right? How do we measure success? As measured by market share, right? So how many market share we have, and of course the timeline, by when, right? So this is what, of course, the goal itself need to be smart, right? Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. Okay, so this is also part of the so-called skill set that we need to know. The next one is on the business capability and strategy. Yeah. So company possess capability, right? Definitely possess the capability, but you need to define that into the map. Otherwise, nobody knows what the capability we are in, right? So basically, capability means things they do, which form the fundamental unit in the business architecture lah. Okay, so business processes orchestrate capability and business function provide the capability, right? So we have the processes mean what we do in our work. Okay, this actually orchestrated the capability, and of course function, what we provide, basically we provide the capability. So if you say, if you engage ATD training, so one of the capabilities we provide training, right, for enterprise architects. So this called our business function. So business process means, and then you want to take up the training, then what should we do? So we will first fill up the form, and then after that register for the course, and then make payment, right, and attend the course. So all this part of the process, right? So business process is actually orchestrating the capability. And of course, capability fall into one of the 4 categories again, right? What the business does for itself, what the business does with partners, right? Sometimes you need to collaborate, you cannot do it alone. What the business contract others to do, sometimes we also need to have a contractor, right, to be part of the team. And what the business doesn't do is also capability, right? Say, oh, sorry, we don't do this. Yeah? And of course, sometimes when we decided not to do, it's also both valuable and difficult. Yeah. So there is a concept of the UCA, unit of competitive advantage. So the UCA is intended to describe a single organization unit, right? We're talking about capability and processes that differentiate the business from its competitor will be managed as a single unit, right? That's called a unit of competitive advantage. So that means something that you are very, very unique, right? Like what we do in the context of the ATD is that we are, I would believe that we are, the UCA us is in the enterprise architecture. Right? Because we provide end-to-end on the training, consulting, coaching, and also we run the event seminars like, related to the enterprise architecture. That's our UCA. So UCA can also be viewed as a core processes, right, to distinguish ourselves from our competitors. And UCA focuses on the firm energy and effort, right, on 1 or 2 main things they can do very well, right? Companies that try to do everything well become a jack of all trades and master of none, right? So it's like department store lah. Department store is not UCA, right? Or supermarket, it's not UCA. But UCA will be something like a boutique shop, yeah. And of course, center of excellence don't work when they are not well coordinated. So UCA need to be of course supported by the architecture itself. So looking at the business capability, right? The first is that you need to have the competitive advantage, right? Second one is that value-added support network. And number 3 is, of course, essential support work, and non-essential work is also part of the business capability. Okay, so UCA, basically capabilities that create distinction between the firm and their competitor, right? So basically it's very unique. We can be differentiated lah, I would say, yeah. Then value-added support work capability that facilitate the UCA capability, right? That's why you have a UCA, because you have the value-added support work, yeah. Like essential support work, basically is that capability that have to be done to operate as a business, yeah. Neither create value or facilitate the UCA capability directly, right? For us is that we need to have a so-called registration, right? In regard to the value-added support work is that, we do offer a so-called free second attempt for the exam. That's called value-added support work, right? And of course, that one is a cost organization money, but so far our track record has been positive in terms of the risk of say a student fail in the exam. Yeah, this is the example. And non-essential work, so basically capability that used to have a purpose but are now done only of a tradition, right? So something that are not essential. So the UCA, right? Core business capability live in the UCA and typically have a direct implication to the organization structure. So business create competitive advantage, right? When they focus on a few capability. So they are looking at the so-called very focused, very like a boutique lah. Yeah. So business gain the most advantage by improving processes and capability in the UCA, right? If we are already very niche in terms of like our offering. Of course, speed is the most critical, right, in the UCA, and the rest of the company should also be designed to maximize it. Okay, and capability and skill in the UCA cannot be managed separately, right? Because UCA capability have to be owned, right? So they mean in every department they know exactly who do what lah. Yeah? So there are three forms of UCA, right? First is that can be product focused, customer focused, and technology focused. Yeah. So basically, we also need to determine how a company approaches its market, right? How to get the most attention. It can be a product focus and still put customer first. Okay, so we need to really decide how we can balance between these three focus form. Okay, because the different in how product and service are defined and marketed. Okay, so focus is on the specific product or services. For example, new product or services are derived from current product or services. Yeah. So and then of course the product might not be a physical good, but can be a lifestyle or image, right? So this way you can portray how you want to be displayed or be remembered, right? So like for instance, Harley Davidson. Harley Davidson is about lifestyle, right? If you have the Harley Davidson bike, basically showing that you have a different type of lifestyle. Or of course the car like Lexus is basically about image, right? And of course the other like sport car is about performance. Yeah? And the central capability actually include the following of the, how we develop the product specification, design the product, manufacture product, and support the product. So the competitive advantage need to look into this type of the capability, and this is where the business architects coming in, right, to analyze this and look at the area of improvement, right, after understanding all this. And the second one is the customer focus. Okay, so basically focus around customer segment. So we look at the specific market or set of customer, right? For instance, in the hospital or medical clinic or government agency, okay? And we see the customer needs, whether it's being monitored and used, okay? And after that, of course, we look at the new product and services derived from the changes that to these needs. And of course, we need to look at how to increase customer satisfaction and loyalty, okay? So the central capability include the following: identify customer requirement, right? So basically make sure that we satisfy their requirement and develop product specification that is targeting, addressing what they need, right? Basically, we say that we listen to the customer, okay? And of course, we design the product and sell the product. So these are part of the life cycle on the product development, yeah? Or service development when we are focusing on the customer focus. The third one is technology focus, right? So we look at how we can develop a product using a technology focused organization. So look at the unique technological capability, right? Basically, these are typically if you're running a software or technology organization. And new product and services are derived from technical expertise, right? Often look like technological solution, in search of a problem. And of course, the same life cycle itself, right? We need to develop the technology, identify customer requirements, sell concept, and design products. Okay. The support work, right? The support work also is part of the capability itself. Okay. So support work can be proprietary or generic, right? So of course now we can use robotic or FAQ or knowledge management to provide the support. Okay, so value-added support work help the UCA run more smoothly, right? Facilitate work in the UCA and directly benefit UCA work. Okay, and essential support work is required in order to stay in the business. Okay, but that doesn't directly benefit to UCA, right? Like for instance, help desk, or perhaps to give a platform for them to share about their experience, right? So it become essential, or maybe help desk, right? 24/7, right? Then of course the value added thing itself, we need to define the structure and capability, right? We look at how the company organized functionally, Okay, so we can group by the value added and support, right? For instance, IT, HR, or finance. Okay, so when you put together, essential support work tends to crowd out the value added work. So we really need to do a so-called balancing act here. And of course, value added support work itself should be performed as close as possible to the UCA, right? And support work should be kept as far away from the ECA as possible, right? Because ECA is our unique competitive advantage, right? Support work is need to be there, but it doesn't influence that much between the two lah. Okay, so some of the value added example in the IT, right? Like maintenance work. Okay, so maintenance work is important, right? That's why organizations are still subscribing to the maintenance, because if there is any issue they want to get fixed, right? They need to be supported. Okay, these may only be essential support work, but not value added, right? As they don't directly support the work of the SEA. In the human resource, handle both benefit administration and employee development. Okay, so benefit administration take the most time and cost out development, but it is essential support work, right? Because and it's not value added when you mention about the employee benefit. It's important. Okay. So non-essential support work. So what happens when you have the non-essential support work? What should we do? This is what we should go, right? Just stop it, because we got many other things to do in life, right? Why do we need to be bothered on the non-essential support work? Do you know what's the example of the non-essential support work? Basically, talk about something that is not true, right? Gossiping, like etc. So it's not real, okay? So we need to focus on the core and the essential support work. So those non-essential, we just set it aside. Yeah. So the overall business model. So a business model set the strategic direction, right? The strategic objective and the strategic thrust. Okay. So the component of the business model itself need to have the direction, objective, and the thrust. So this in turn define the market, right? Select product and services, and also how the company being organized, right? So business model itself can be viewed as the business focus on one or more anchor, right? Competitive necessities. Okay, so this is something that quite unique. Okay. So in terms of the typical organization, when they come out with the strategic direction, right? Typically they split into the multiple strategic A, B, and etc. Then every strategic objective, there will be a strategic thrust, right? Strategic thrust is about how you actually execute that, right? Into the smaller chunk, okay? So you split thing into the grouping lah, basically, yeah? Into strategic thrust, A1, A2, B1, B2, and etc. So in terms of the strategic direction, yeah, this is the level at which the choice is meant to be product focused or customer focused or technology focused, right? So this is where we need to make a decision. So usually the responsibility of senior leaders, right? Senior leaders mean to be the senior management in your organization that decide, right? Whether we want to be product focused, customer focused, or technology focused, or perhaps can be balanced between the three. And define the nature of the relationship between companies and the customer, and define the business factors, right? Business focus, sorry. And define the content also of the unique capability UCA itself. So example, right, on the strategic objective. Okay, so generally set by the business unit. Yeah, business unit, the divisional head will set this strategic objective. Then should be stated as goals, and then provide guidance and constraint for strategic thrust, right? And then in the strategic thrust itself, typically is that we need to typically operational decision made within the trenches, basically within the working group itself. Okay, then could be a specific product, service, or relationship with a specific partner. Okay, then after that could be a specific market or target customer segment. So this is basically what so-called the business architecture informant in the day-to-day, right? And this is the example. Okay, so once you understand about the strategic thrust, the driver, etc., so you can look at this particular model, right, between the board of director and the customer. Okay, if you see both board of director and customer, they want to ensure that both need to have customer satisfaction, right? So if the board of director having a so-called customer, the open house, product launching, etc., they board director don't want that when meet customer, yeah, they tell you, hey, I think your team, yeah, your product are not good, or service not good. You don't want that, right? So you need to make sure that you have a so-called customer satisfaction. Right? need to be addressed. So, and of course, the board itself need to address the stakeholder satisfaction, right? And also achieve sales target. And of course, when we talk about stakeholders of satisfaction, stakeholders want to ensure that the profit are preserved or better. Okay, and customer also want to have a good product range, and also the price should be reasonable. Okay, so this is we understand about this particular stakeholders concern in modeling the motivation. So let's focus on the board and the profitability, right? What sort of strategy that we can so-called and also the goal that we can set for them. Okay, so this is the example. Okay, if you see here, right, this is the strategy. The strategy is that if you want to ensure that just now we achieved in the previous model between the board of director and the customer, we need to develop a digital customer intimacy strategy. Okay, so when we develop digital customer intimacy strategy, we need to ensure that we can realize, right, best in class online customer experience. So basically is that nothing to be compromised, right? Basically best or nothing. Okay, so we put best in class online customer experience, and this one need to be supported by digital customer management. Because if you want to be best in class, and if you are not digital in terms of customer management, and it's very difficult, right? You cannot do manual. So you need to have a dashboard with all the 360-degree view of the client, right? So you call or contact one person, and you get their customer ID or customer contact, customer handphone number, or customer identification. Then you can have a 360-degree view on the particular client, right? This on the left hand side. Then on the right hand side, the other outcome, you need to have detailed insight in customer behavior, right? So you get data driven. So here, you know exactly what the customer has purchased from you, what are their pattern, when was the last purchase, and how much the biggest transaction that they buy from you. So all these are data driven capability that need to be addressed, right? So if you can do this, then we can ensure that our strategy will work. Okay, this is one of the example modeling the strategy. Then from there, we can realize the goal, right? The goal here, best in class online customer experience, is that we can improve customer satisfaction, right? As a result, we can also higher our customer retention, right? And as a result, we can also increase in revenue because why is customer happy with us? The same thing when you do a detailed insight in customer behavior, right? So you can realize the competitive premium setting, right? So you become so-called better than any of your competitor. Then as a result, you can also influence increase in market share, and of course increase in revenue, and increase in revenue itself can contribute to the higher profitability, and high profitability is belong to the board, right? Just like in the previous model, right? With this in place, you don't need to worry about customer moving to another competitor or customer choosing other insurance product, right? So basically, this is where you can address, right, this so-called strategy to ensure that the profitability driver that belong to the board director are being addressed. Okay, so this is just an example on the how we can model the strategy.